Hey, it's me again. I'm gonna do a little experiment here. I got my homemade Allegheny on steroids on the track. It's got dual motors. It's wired DC. What I've done is I got the track switched off right now, so I can flip flop from DC to DCC. And what I've done is I've Mickey Moused a Soundtracks Dakota from the Digitrax DCS52 between that and the rails, and I taped the wires to the rails. I wouldn't recommend anybody do this. If the train derails or shorts out, you could damage the decoder. This particular decoder has a protection, so if you short it out, it will not smoke the decoder unless you keep doing it. Some decoders don't, especially the cheap ones. If you short the wires, the decoder's junk. So what I got here is a right now I have a cheap Bachman DC controller hooked up to it. It's strictly DC, real DC. I have Power Command Tech 3 9500 MRC, which from what I can understand is pulse power. And how we know that is it causes motor hum at a very low speed where regular DC doesn't. So this is the regular DC. Let's see if we're going to compare the speeds here. All right. It's going to stall out. It's not going to be consistent. But there's no motor hum. It's the low speed is absolutely, it's not bad. I mean, considering that it's a homemade locomotive, that's pretty goddamn good. See how it just stalled out? All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to flip a switch here, and we're going to go to the MRC decoder. We're going to back up. I mean, the thing, we're going to back it up so you can see it, but you're going to hear some motor hum. I don't know if the camera's picking that up. You can hear it? The thing actually runs better at lower speeds with the cheap Bachman than it does with the MRC. Now, this is pulse power. I checked the website. I checked tech, online, all this other crap, and they all say that MRC is pulse power and some motors will hum, and that it's normal. So that's why it hums. I'll flip it back to the cheap Bachman. Not only is the low speed better, but there's no hum. If there is, I can't hear it. And I got really good hearing. So anyway, the train stalls out. It's not, you can't really run it. These are 3-pole motors, by the way. They're not 5. I haven't gotten around to swapping them. I did get some 5-poles motors that are the same size. I have to cut the shafts. They're dual shaft. I don't want the other shaft. So I have to carefully cut them without damaging the motor. But there's no hum. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut all this garbage off and, excuse me, we are going to switch it to the decoder. Mind you, the decoder's not in the train. It's Mickey Mouse to the rails. We have to be very careful that we do not derail. I don't want to damage the decoder. I'm pretty sure that it won't. The decoder has a red light on it that automatically flashes if there's too much of a draw on the motor. but you're going to see the difference in the speed and how consistent it is. Now it's a little jerky, that's speed step 1. It's not the decoder, it's the train causing that. It's not absolutely perfect. Gears are worn, they're brass, they're 45, 50 years old. But it won't stall out. Where without the decoder, because there's nothing monitoring the motor, it will stall out. Now I ripped this decoder out of my big boy, so my Rivarossi big boy, so I did not set the chops. All I did was turn the volume down so I could talk. As far as the way it runs, it's with the decoder, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. As far as slow speed is pretty damn good. I said, we'll just run this all the way around. So this is a Soundtrax Tsunami 2 amp rated at 2 amps for the motor. The motor is actually powering, the motor output is actually powering the LEDs and the capacitor that's inside there. I don't know if that's, taken away from the, how much power it's taken away from the motor, but this thing has got it also has dynamic exhaust, so when you hold it, you'll hear how loud the truck gets. Gets a lot louder when you put a load on it. It's an excellent decoder. I recommend them. I think it was called Big Steam. It's for all the big steam locomotives. You can switch it to articulated, two piston, 3 piston, or articulated, which is what this is set at because I ripped it out of the big boy. Probably tell. You can tell by the horn that's whistle rather where it's set at. And I also experimented with the cheap XL decoder, and the low speed wasn't bad. A little choppy compared to how this runs, but you see it right now. We'll go to speed step 1. That's speed step 1. Not bad for a homemade locomotive. Okay, so we're gonna shut this off. I'm gonna unplug this, flip the switch, go back to the cheap Bachmann decoder. Power supply. I'll back it up here so you can watch the wheels. See how you really can't take off smoothly, then it stalls out. See how it stalls out right there? Now we're gonna flip this back to the DCC. Oh, I got, what am I doing here? I did something wrong here. Yeah, I'm not getting power to the rails. Let me pause this for a second. Alright, I didn't have the switch all the way off or on to turn this rail back on. I'm gonna back it up, and you can watch where it stalled out before on DC. And we'll see if it stalls out. I made that tender. That was a regular like Berkshire tender. I added a little over, just under a quarter of an inch to the height. I was going to extend the length because it needs to be longer. But since I did such a lousy job extending the height, I'm going to wait until I get another tender and do it over. Alright, so this thing never stalled out. It continued to up move. That's at speed step 1. Excuse me, speed step 2. We'll go to speed step 1 and we'll see what it does. Alright, so anyway, that was the test. And you can really see the difference between the slow speed that you get on a locomotive when you use DCC, a good quality DCC decoder, or a regular DC. I love the MRC that I have here. I love this unit, but they say that the pulse power helps with low speed and whatnot. Maybe it does, maybe it don't. I don't really see it. I don't see the advantage of it being pulse power. I'm not a big fan of it, especially if it makes the motor hum. That's kind of ridiculous. And so that's it. Let me know what your thoughts are. I could stick in a cheap XL decoder, but trust me, there's a big difference between the $140 or $130 decoder and a $39 or a $45 decoder. The XL works pretty good. It makes the train operate better than it does on DC, but it's not nearly as good as the soundtracks. The soundtracks, the motor control right out of the box with not even playing with any CVs is far more superior as far as smoothness goes. And you get what you pay for. But anyway, thank you for watching, and have a great night.